Hey everybody. So this is my new mini-series, Road to Reverend, featuring yours truly, the future Reverend-Doctor Tiara J. Stevens. So the video is going to discuss what led me to metaphysical studies and a little bit about my journey and how I got here today and what the road really is and so far what it really looks like. So I was always very spiritually inclined since I was a little girl. I was always very much in tune with dreaming. So being that that's something that has always had a connection with me, that was almost like seeming like the theme of my life. Dreams, visions, going places, seeing different things, exploring, but in a more of a spiritual sort of sense. I was a vivid dreamer ever since I was little, and even up until now throughout my entire life, it was just always something about dreams that really connected to me. Something that always made me feel like, man, it's something else out here. There's other places out here. There's other things out here. There are elements, if you will, that communicate with us before I even had a real concept of what God was. But that's what we would call it today, right? We would call it God. Oh, God spoke to me through my dreams. Like even the disciples in the Bibles was talking about their connection to God through dreams and visions. So that was something for me that always connected with my spirit. And one of my favorite symbols that I love is like dream catchers, all Native American or American Indian symbols, feathers, which represent messages from the spirit. So I was always connected in that way. So the road to Reverend is an idea I came up with, for one, because I do currently attend the University of Metaphysics, which is located in Sedona, Arizona. And it's literally talking about my journey to earning those credentials to be a Reverend-Doctor and ordained minister. And I will have obtained my doctorate degree in metaphysical studies. So on the other polar side of that is really just talking a little bit about what I learned throughout this journey through the physicality of study and just through what I received from the spirit through the dreams and visions and everything else. I've always been just a strong believer that from those experiences that there's something bigger than us. There's something that guides us in an unseen sort of way. There is a bigger force, again, which some people call God. And what is it? The Muslim Islam religions call Allah. In Native American culture, it was the Great Spirit. Some people call it the universe. Some people just call it spirit. There's many different names for it. So it also just talks about just where I come from and where I'm going in my life. And I just want to keep my followers involved in that. And I just want to take what I learned and teach it. I literally want to practice what I preach and what I teach. And from there, it's a lifelong journey of continuing to just keep my eyes open, being able to see, being able to receive, being able to study, being able to seek and explore these different things. Something else too, I always kind of had questions. Like I grew up in the church. I grew up in a Christian church. And even from young, I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions about what God really is, who this Jesus was. No disrespect. That's just kind of how I felt. And something that always stuck with me too was learning about this tree of knowledge that's right in the beginning, right in Genesis, and how the serpent, which many call, the devil or Satan, when he told, no, it was God who told Adam and Eve not to eat this apple for they would gain knowledge. And something about that just never stuck with me or never sat right with me. Something as big and powerful as God. We come from this big and powerful God, but this big and powerful, almighty, omniscient, omnipresent, omniscient, what's the other word for all-knowing? It might be omniscience. Anyway, a God who's all knowing and all powerful, and we're his children, wouldn't want us to have knowledge. It just never made sense to me. And that's still something that I'm delving into. There's many different ideas of what that really was. You know, I'm into the lost books of the Bible, the ones that were not published to the mainstream. And there's a lot of information out there, stuff in between. Now, I don't think we'll know the full truth, but I also do believe that a lot of people who are stuck in religion are just stuck in just what they've been taught and what they've been programmed to think and believe. And from that, like what I just explained of not seeking that knowledge or not being curious of that knowledge, has had a lot of people remain stuck in their ideas instead of searching for more, asking questions. That's like when you go to school. What is something that they encourage you to do? Wait. They encourage you to ask questions. What is asking questions? It's inquiring, it's seeking information. So why wouldn't you do that? That's only natural, right? When you're in a school, which Earth is a school, when we're here to learn and expand on education, why wouldn't you ask questions? Why wouldn't you seek more? So from that, all of that together is kind of what led me to it. Now, I have a very dear friend of mine, a dear family friend of mine who passed away April of last year. It's been a little over a year now. And he was very much into this stuff. And I always call him my inspiration because he would have certain terminologies that he would post about, like gnosis and esotericism. And even that just made me curious. So I'm like, I'm going to start looking this stuff up. I'm going to look into what that means. And even the definitions of those things just always intrigued me. Learning about hidden knowledge, learning about what many people don't know, learning about what this symbology meant of, say, the Bible and other ancient and religious texts. Just knowing that there was much more that met the eye. I was like, well, I want to know too. So I like to say that in a way he set me on this path as well. And I definitely just want to live in his legacy of seeking this information, seeking as much truth as I can. Even if I don't know the whole truth or can't fully understand something, I'm going to seek it. And with that, I want to be the one to be able to disseminate and discourse on it to others who are curious as well. So those are some of the things that led me down this path, and I'm just very excited to be on it, to expand and to share what it is that I know. But just like in the Bible, it's not going to be for everybody. Everybody's not going to be open to it. Everybody's not going to be receptive to it, and everybody's not going to understand it. A lot of people are not going to want to understand it. So I'm here to tell you that I'm never a person who's going to force anything on anybody, especially believing something or taking something as truth. That's something you have to do for yourself. As for me, I'm going to speak from the truth of what I understand, even if I don't understand it all. I'm to this day, when I look into this stuff, I be like, I don't think I fully understand that, but it's not going to deter me. So I'm not going to be on here having arguments with anybody, debating with anybody about anything. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If there's further clarification needed, I'll definitely do my best to give the clarification that I could give. But again, I'm not here to force feed anybody. And again, this is not a Christian channel. This is not about, now, of course, we're going to be using biblical scripture. I'm actually going to be, or am studying the Bible as well to earn my PhD in Bible interpretation. So with that, from my understanding thus far, there's a lot of metaphysical and alchemical terminology, even with the Bible. A lot of that stuff, even before then, when you go to ancient spirituality or Egyptian spirituality, a lot of stuff was written in code. It was coded because it was not for everybody. It was for a small circle of people. It was arcane knowledge. It's interesting because I really just, and on this journey, it makes me look deeper really into almost anything that I can. Arcane means esoteric or secret or in a small circle. In your tarot cards, you have arcana. You have major arcana and you have minor arcana. And with that, when you really look into what arcane is, it has hidden information even in the symbols and the meanings of it. A lot of symbology was used as well as in text. Okay, so a lot of us think we understand what our Bible is saying, but not really. I think a lot of it is to be taken literally, but I think a lot of it is to be processed a little further, if you will. So this mini series is going to be touching on a lot of different things that have to do with esotericism, metaphysics, ancient texts, alchemy, things around that arena, symbology, and so forth. So I am. One of those Bible thumpers, you think I'm a witchy witch? I'm that witch in that case. Definitely not a Bible thumper or anything like that. But I'm not disrespectful of it either. You know, I grew up in that environment, but at the same time, it's time to start seeking truth of who you are and what it is that was really meant for us to understand, for those who want to understand it. So that is all for The Road to Reverend. Thank you so much for listening. Y'all take care.